What is going on, everybody? Andrew from Confidence Hype here, and reactivating some things. It's been a long time and wanted to try out some YouTube content. So it's actually my first vlog, if you will, and wanted to discuss a topic that I'm sure is on everyone's minds as of late. But nevertheless, please subscribe, like, whatever it is, do all of it. Wanted to continue doing this content more often. We greatly appreciate your support, and we'll continue delivering it on to you on a regular basis. But without further ado, why don't I just delve in and talk about today's topic, and that's really how to deal with layoffs. As I'm sure some of you can tell just from talking to friends, and for me at least, just looking at LinkedIn. I'm someone who goes on LinkedIn regularly, and I can tell you it's pretty depressing. There's a lot of posts going on lately, people discussing their journey as of late, and updates on there and about just about how they're dealing with their recent layoffs. It seems like unemployment is, I wouldn't say on the rise, but I will say that it's definitely increasing the unemployment rate per se. And so it gets people a little anxious, and people who are currently struggling with finding a new job, by all means, I can tell you that I definitely feel you and I can understand where you're coming from. I'm someone who unfortunately had bad luck over the course of 2023 into the course of 2024 as well, and got laid off not just once, but twice, albeit for reasons that didn't have to do with performance, but still really took a big hit to my confidence, and I battled through it and want to just kind of share some advice for those who are going through layoffs, looking for their next gig, having some trouble both finding a job but also struggling mentally and from a confidence level as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to deal with how you should feel when it first happens, when you first get laid off, what you should feel, what's normal, what you should do to get yourself back together, to pick yourself back up, tips and advice on how you can explore the job market and how you can really position yourself as someone who's really qualified and separate yourself from the rest of the pack in competition, and just giving you a bit of a recap at the very end. But starting things off, when you first get laid off, there is no easy way to feel about it. You're not going to feel happy. It's normal to feel very numb, I would say, emotionally numb. Some people are in shock. Some people are hysterical. Some people are mad. It's all normal and it's all natural to feel these ways. I want to just tell you all that if it does happen to you, and I hope it doesn't, that allow yourself to feel that way. Allow yourself to really feel and express emotions, not maybe to a bunch of people, but at least explore it and at least let yourself feel emotion. Feel grief. Allow yourself to mourn, because you don't want to bottle yourself up with emotion and hide everything and make it seem like everything is totally fine, because realistically something major just happened to you. And so it's normal for you to grieve and it's normal for you to feel upset. So I want you to give yourself permission that when it first happens, at the very least for one day, take a break, reset, decompress, do whatever it is to just really try to dust yourself off and try to move past what had just happened. Some people it takes one day, some people it could take a week, but regardless, you do need to at a certain point pick yourself back up and make moves, as they say. And so I just want to tell you that at the very least, make sure that you are not just bottling yourself with emotion. You can make sure that you can, confide with others. Talk to not so many people, but you definitely talk to your loved ones, your spouse, your parents even. You could talk to your best friend. I wouldn't talk to everybody, because truthfully, sometimes getting laid off is something that you want to publicly express at a certain point if you're looking for job leads or looking for any help from others, which people do, and I'll get into that. But at first, initially, it's still a sore wound, a raw wound, and you don't want too many people to find out and reach out to you all at once. It can become a bit overwhelming. But nevertheless, give yourself permission to grieve, feel emotion, and please, by all means, do not blame yourself. If it was performance related, even, do not blame yourself, because there could be various reasons as to why it happened for performance reasons. It could be because of the fact that maybe you were just put in a bad situation, put in a position to fail, if you will. You didn't have the right resources, the right mentorship, the right training. There are so many variables that go into why things just don't work out in the corporate world. So don't think less of yourself. Now, in addition to just not just beating yourself up, especially if you're someone who's living month to month, may not have an emergency fund, as they say. If you're someone who is a parent and has kids, you need to really get yourself up and really look for a gig or look for supplemental income immediately. If you're not getting severance from your company, this is where you really have to roll your sleeves up and get creative, because severance does help. It goes a long ways, but it does run out after a certain period of time. For some people, you can get severance for a long time. For some people, it's as short as a month. For some people, they don't get it at all. My personal experience, I got severance for 3 months. And luckily for me, when I did find my next job, it was after 4 months of searching, and I got laid off right before the dog days of summer, where the job market really is not that hot. For me, having that severance was a huge deal, and I was able to live off of it. But that last month, it was scary, and I had to declare for unemployment, and I had to sell some stuff, and I had to really try to get creative and get really frugal and scrappy with my means. And that brings me to the next point is, in terms of what you need to do, you need to really make sure that you're able to do random gigs if you need to. You need to make sure that you're able to sell stuff on eBay, sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. If you are able to do Uber Eats, do DoorDash, do whatever it takes. While you're doing all this stuff that may seem very scrappy and may seem like a hustle nature, if you will, in the midst of it all, know that you're doing it because you're doing it for the sake of yourself, for family, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be forever, and it shouldn't be something that you want to lead to you doubting your abilities and overall letting it hit your self-esteem. So remember, you do that as well. Never let anyone during this entire process, when you're looking for a new job, tell you that you need to explore an entire different career, a different industry, or a different function, because they don't really understand really what goes into what life might be like in terms of why it may be hard finding a job. The truth is, for many fields right now, it's hard to find a job across the board. And inflation is making things harder for people living on a day-by-day basis once they're laid off. So people may say it out of love in order to help guide you towards your next career move, but don't take it all too seriously, because you don't want to feel pressure during this time. You want it to be a time of exploration and a time of soul searching for yourself. Continue searching for what you were doing previously that you were very good at is completely normal and where you should first start off at. But if you do want to completely start from scratch and start a brand new field, a brand new job, a brand new industry, then you have to really do that on your own and make sure that that's right for you. So don't let anyone try to influence you and make you make certain decisions that you don't feel comfortable with. What you should do is, on a confidence level, and what helped me out is, don't just, you definitely want to live below your means. You want to be frugal, and you want to make sure you're not spending a lot of money on things that really are not necessary. Do not go out to restaurants. Do not spend money on concerts or festivals or movies or anything. You want to really hunker down and really live, as Dave Ramsey would say, live on beans and rice and beans. You just want to be very, very simple. Live the simple life. It sucks, but it's the right thing to do, and it's the responsible thing to do. So what I would say is, you want to make sure that during this time, what you can do is, if let's say you're in the library, or if let's say you're simply have a laptop, go on YouTube or read books. And what helped me during this time is, not only was I looking for a new time job, I worked out every day just to give myself an endorphin boost. Made sure that I was able to really feel good on a physical level. So I worked out every day, and that helped. But number two, in addition to looking for new jobs, I read books and tried to learn new skills while I was looking for jobs, because I found that learning and giving myself an opportunity to learn new skills really boosted my self-esteem. And so I think that that's something that would help you guys out as well. And I feel that if you want to try that out, I highly recommend it. I personally, at the time when I did get laid off, there were courses that I had actually purchased off of Udemy, udemy.com. Great site for those of you who haven't heard of it before. But it's a great site for basically learning anything. It could be anything from painting to accounting. Literally, it spans a wide range of topics. And best of all is, when you do learn the topic that you're trying to learn more about, or the skill that you're trying to really learn, that you're trying to practice, if you will, is, once you finish your course, you're able to actually share it on LinkedIn as a certification completion. And that brings me to my next point is, during this time when you're looking for a new job, it is so important, more than ever before, to separate yourself from the rest of the pack and make sure that you position yourself as someone who is really special and is really above everyone else. Now, what do I mean by that? LinkedIn is very, very important. And it's not just a means of just using it as something that you use to just create a profile and submit your resume for certain jobs. That's the very bare minimum that you should do. What you should really focus on is two things. Number one, if you can, number one is you first want to make sure you personal brand yourself. Make sure that your profile is 100% optimized. Fill out every single part of your profile. Make sure that what you also do, and what I do regularly, even while I'm employed currently, because you never know what happens, is you want to post every single day. Whether it's video, whether it's a written post, whether it's a post with an image, you want to make sure you're able to post every single day and that you're engaging with your audience and your following on LinkedIn, because you never know what kind of leads and what kind of referrals LinkedIn can lead to. The job that I currently have was thanks to LinkedIn, because I was not just posting content and not just expanding the reach to my network with everything that I was doing regularly from a post and a content standpoint, but I was also connected to a lot of people and keeping in touch with a lot of people. So you not just want to post content, you want to also check in and talk to a lot of different people. You want to speak to your network and find out if there's opportunities that that they can keep you in mind for. You really want to exhaust every single option you can when you're on LinkedIn. And when I was laid off, it just so happened that a former client of mine who worked for a company, my point of contact, who I'd worked with for this client at the time for many, many years, was leaving the company. And at the time, that person was looking for their replacement, and I immediately reached out to them and asked them to see if I can be considered and if I could throw my hat in the ring. Lo and behold, within a matter of 2 weeks, it was very accelerated, but I got pushed into the interview phase, went through 4 rounds of interviews, and got my job. And it was the best thing that happened to me, because, truth be told, it's probably the best job I've had in, I would say, the last 5 years, ever since COVID. So LinkedIn's very important. So again, personal brand yourself, really exhaust your network and ensure that you reach out to everybody and you talk to people and you're able to see what they're up to, see if they can consider you for any future opportunities. But number two, and what I would definitely recommend, is if you have the funds, I would highly recommend you invest in either LinkedIn Premium or LinkedIn Sales Navigator. They're very similar in what they're able to do, but the bottom line is that when you apply for a job, you can't just apply and then move on. You are one of, I would say, several hundred people in today's game, and that's very discouraging to hear. I understand that, and I realize that, but you have to accept that fact. And so what that means is you have to really try to reach the decision makers. You can do that one of two ways. You can either do your research online, and there's various ways through uh, Google has a lot of information, and if you really do your research with the companies that you're applying for, and you find out which department you would theoretically be placed into and who would be your boss or bosses, look them up online. There's a lot of public information out there, and you'd be surprised if you'd be able to find their phone numbers or emails. Now, I wouldn't call them. Calling them is definitely a very, it's definitely a move that I wouldn't discourage, but I would say initially at first, I would recommend emailing them. And if you can't find their email, this is where LinkedIn Sales Navigator and Premium work, because within those two upgraded levels of account that you can have on LinkedIn is you're able to really understand the organizational chart within the company and really be able to search on a more convenient, easier level of really determining who would be your boss and who is the decision maker or the hiring manager. So whether it's someone in HR, if it's the person you'd be reporting to themselves, reach out to as many people as you can about the role. And don't just say like, hey, I applied for this role. I'd love for you to consider me. Give a reason, at least 1 or 2 sentences as to why that role and why that field or that company correlates to your background and why you would be the right candidate for that role. Sometimes a lot of people will do this tactic that I'm basically explaining right now in terms of reaching out to the decision makers or HR by emailing them or sending them a LinkedIn email or a personal message. But really, what I would say is don't just mass message everyone that you're applying to and that you're applying for and say, hey, I just want to let you know that I applied for this. Love you to consider me such and such, best John Smith. Like, don't say that. You again want to let them know that you are excited about the opportunity. You would love to be considered for it. Would love to have the opportunity to speak to them for 10 to 15 minutes just to learn more about the role and discuss it in greater detail. Again, really show that you're very interested in it and you're not just, playing a game of numbers and that you're just submitting to a ton of different jobs. You just hope that, one of them will pan out. You can try to do that, but I guarantee you that it's not the most efficient thing to do. Really focus on the jobs that you're the most qualified for. But again, really try to apply for quite a few jobs on a daily basis, but still at the same time, doing your follow-up before they even see your resume and really make sure that you're staying top of mind. So again, reach out to them, and whether it's via email, whether it's on personal message, or whether it's on direct email, whether you're using your Gmail account and you're sending them an email to their work email, just reach out to them and attach your resume, your cover letter, say to them that you just applied to them, you love to be considered, and that give yourself write 2 sentences explaining why you are best for that role. So make sure you do that. This is something that a lot of people are dealing with, but I would say that there's 2 things. Number 1, you have to remember you did nothing wrong. You have to really remember that even if it was performance related, if you tried hard, it is not your fault. Maybe you were set up for failure, you didn't have mentorship, you didn't have tools, you didn't have training, but just again, do not blame yourself and do not let others influence your next move. Always strive for personal development and personal growth. When you're laid off, it's natural to feel like you are a shell of yourself. You feel low, you question your skill set, you question your career path, you question everything. It's easier said than done, I know, but you have to block all that out. So what I would say is the best things you can do is invest in yourself physically by what I would say is doing any sort of physical activity, working out, weightlifting, playing a sport. Don't let it take up your entire day, because you do want to make sure that looking for your next job is your full-time job. But make sure that you are able to treat yourself and you're able to boost yourself up and give yourself some endorphins physically. Then also give yourself a bit of a confidence boost by learning more. This is a time where you can actually try to maybe learn new skills, improve your skills. So take advantage of that. And number 3, the most important thing to remember is, aside from what I mentioned before about LinkedIn and how important it is and how you need to separate yourself from the pack and stand out, is you need to remember that this is something that is not going to last forever. You are not going to remain unemployed forever. I promise you that. If you treat your job hunt like a full-time job, you will land back on your feet. When? That's TBD. It could be for some people as little as 1 month. It could be for some other people a year, if not more. And it sucks to hear. But you can beat those odds by really grinding and making sure that, in addition to taking care of your family while you are laid off, if you don't have severance, that you're doing odd jobs and that you're selling stuff on eBay or selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace, that you're very frugal, that you're living below your means, that you're really trying to save up as much as possible and not spend. You really want to make sure that, again, that you're not going to treat yourself as if that this is going to last forever. You really want to make sure that you're able to really get back on your feet and remember, again, it's not going to last forever. Beat those odds by doing the right things, by investing in yourself physically and on a personal development level, really separating yourself by personally branding yourself on LinkedIn. And number 3, making sure that you stay positive, don't blame yourself, and don't think less of yourself. You guys got this. I know it's a rough time for a lot of people. If you have any questions about my journey and what I went through, happy to tell you more about that. But again, this is temporary, and don't beat yourself up. You'll get through this. I promise you. Take it easy, guys. I hope you enjoyed this topic for today. Again, I'll be back for more discussions and more content relating to other various matters, but love for you to check out the Confidence Hype podcast on Spotify. If you're watching this on YouTube, continue watching this on YouTube and subscribe and like to continue to watch more content. Stay up to date by hitting the bell, and really enjoyed this, and I would love to continue creating content for you guys on a regular basis. So take it easy, and I wish you guys nothing but the best.